Power is rarely decided in open space. It is decided where movement is forced to narrow. The widest territories do not determine control. The smallest passages do. This is ACHRONIC. History, geography, and power beyond time. Across history, attention gravitates toward vast empires, endless plains, and immense oceans. But scale alone does not generate leverage. Power does not depend on how much space exists. It depends on how much space can be avoided. When movement has options, control disperses. When movement has no alternative, control concentrates. The decisive locations in the world are not the largest. They are the most constrained. A narrow passage is not defined by its size, but by its inevitability. It is a point where geography reduces choice. A strait, a canal, a mountain corridor, a river crossing. These are not impressive because they are wide. They matter because they cannot be bypassed without cost. Movement slows there. Trade compresses there. Armies hesitate there. And hesitation is where power inserts itself. In open terrain, force must be projected. In confined terrain, force waits. The difference is structural. Open space demands expansion. Narrow space rewards positioning. Control over a passage does not require dominance over everything around it. It requires presence at the moment when movement has nowhere else to go. This is why narrow passages outlive empires. Political systems rise and fall, but the geography of compression remains. The names attached to a strait may change. The flags over a canal may rotate, yet the constraint persists. Ships still pass through the same corridor. Caravans still funnel through the same valley. The passage continues to decide even when rulers change. The illusion of control often comes from territorial size. Maps suggest that influence radiates outward from capitals and spreads across borders. But influence is rarely radial. It is directional. It follows routes, and routes converge at points of restriction. The center is not always where power accumulates. Often it is where movement must squeeze. A narrow passage transforms scale into leverage. It allows smaller actors to influence larger systems. It reduces the need for expansion and increases the value of position. In open systems, power competes. In constrained systems, power filters. Whoever occupies the filter does not need to control everything. They only need to control the flow. This is not about fortifications or fortresses. It is about geometry. When the world compresses into a corridor, the corridor becomes decisive. Control does not expand outward from it in a dramatic display. It stabilizes quietly. It sets conditions. It defines what can pass and what must wait. Even modern infrastructure replicates this pattern. Data flows through choke points. Energy passes through pipelines. Supply chains depend on logistical bottlenecks. The forms evolve, but the principle remains identical. Power attaches itself to compression. It seeks the point where alternatives disappear. The significance of narrow passages is not dramatic. They do not announce themselves as decisive. They rarely appear central on a map, yet their effect is disproportionate. A disruption in a corridor reverberates far beyond its physical boundaries. A blockage in a strait alters markets continents away. A delay in a canal reshapes timelines across oceans. Compression amplifies consequence. Wide empires require constant maintenance. Narrow passages require constant attention. The former can expand indefinitely. The latter cannot move. And that immobility is precisely what grants them endurance. You cannot relocate a mountain pass. You cannot widen a strait without cost. Geography resists redesign. Constraint is stubborn. This is why power repeatedly returns to the same narrow spaces. Not because history repeats, but because movement does. Trade follows efficiency. Armies follow access. Information follows infrastructure, and all of them converge where options diminish. Control, then, is not about owning territory in its entirety. It is about occupying the unavoidable. It is about understanding where the world becomes thin. When space narrows, decision thickens. When movement compresses, leverage increases. Empires may stretch across continents, but they are tethered to passages they cannot ignore. Remove access to a corridor, and scale becomes irrelevant. Restrict a crossing, and magnitude loses advantage. The narrow passage does not need to expand to matter. It only needs to exist. The world appears vast, but its decisive points are small. Its open spaces are many, but its unavoidable routes are few. And wherever movement must slow, power finds a place to stand. Not because it commands the world, but because it controls the moment when the world has no choice but to pass.